Let's talk about what the Pro Bowl got wrong about the 49ers.
I think it's hard not to both of us to mention anyone else other than Dre Greenlaw.
He wasn't even an alternate.
Not an alternate. Again, I look at the alternates more closely than do anything else. Which either or, it would have been good if you got in either or. He wasn't any of that. How many linebackers are better than Dre Greenlaw in the NFC? Not much.
I don't even think Fred Warner is better than him this year. I mean,
you could argue that. You could argue that.
Greenlaw's the leading tackler on the 49ers. I mean, Greenlaw's had the biggest plays this season. I don't see how.
I guarantee you, if the play of Greenlaw started from week 1, where he wasn't playing so out of control in that first 4 to 6 week span, then we're having a different story. Or even if it was just after those first few games, but because of that, he was pretty much making a last minute huff and puff on the way.
Also, the hit on Herbert. The hit on Herbert.
Yes,
he got ejected.
Pretty much that. Pretty much, I think people just call that off as we'll X off that game. We'll call it a chalk. Yeah,
but Greenlaw's biggest sin is being too fast. He's too fast and too furious, man.
Well, now it's going on good. Now it's Too Fast and Furious is going on very well because he's in control. He's pretty much staying on the tracks of what he needs to do. He's beelines to his guy. He sees the trajectory, and he's not doing the boneheaded mistakes that a rookie or a guy fuming would make. He's playing sweet. He's playing smart football and aggressive football, which is dangerous, which is always a hard balance to get to the two.
It's impossible. And what disappoints me about this is that I understand the fans not knowing about Dre Greenlaw. Coaches and players, what the hell, man?
Who else got into I didn't see have you seen the list? I'm trying to look at the list. Who else got into the
list of alternates? No, but I know Demario Davis made it as the other starter.
Demario Davis, I guess. Warner. Yeah, that's maybe more name. I would assume maybe it's Jordan Brooks. Because his name was being fluttered around, but I'm not sure how great of a year he was playing. There's also that linebacker of the Packers, but their defense has been pretty bad this year. I just can't think. Devin White? Sorry.
Let's talk about other things they got wrong about the Niners, because Greenlaw definitely got screwed, but there's other things that I thought they got wrong. I mean, no Ayuk.
I'm okay with that one.
Really?
I'm okay with that one. Only because
Debo over Ayuk.
How many? Okay, Debo Ayuk, is blasphemous for sure.
Are you kidding? That's totally reputation. Ayuk has had a better year than Debo. There's no question about that.
So if they're putting 4 starters, right? The 4 starters was Brown, Lamb, Glorin, and obviously Jettas. So does that mean there's 4 more fair. Alternates?
I'm not saying that Ayuk.
No. I'm just asking. So that means the starters in 4. That means you're going to put 4 alternates, right, for each one.
Yeah.
If it's 4. So that means is Ayuk a top 8 wide receiver? I think it's just because of his impact, yes, but how many is he actually better than? So you got DK Metcalfs and Tyler Lockett's who've been solid this year. So that's like 5 and 6.
I think he's better than DK.
Yeah, but it's what he's done. It's what he's done. Is he better? Sure, but it's what he's done. I'm just trying to see it with the logical standpoint of that, and the fact that he's pretty much, especially his last several games, it's pretty much been like a bunch of 2 to 3 reception games of 20, 40 yards, and it's one tug. It's like people want it doesn't wow people for a wide receiver.
I know. It's
too
bad because on a different team and a different offense, he'd be putting up numbers, but there's a lot of weapons. A run first team. Look at the quarterbacks. He never gets his full. I don't know. I just feel like he should have been rewarded this year, and instead they gave it to Debo on a lifetime achievement award. I don't know. What about McCaffrey as an alternate? Not making it over Tony Pollard?
Pollard turned. It's because of those massive games he had. That's pretty much what it is. I think that's pretty much people just because he had that blank week for the Chiefs, even though he played efficient, but it wasn't anything. But that pretty much was his only, smudge on his resume for this year. So I think over Pollard, who's pretty much a spellback.
I mean, not anymore. Second in the NFC in all-purpose yards by running backs after Barkley. I don't know, man.
Yeah, and then after looking at that, it's like, man, the NFC has running backs that are not, really noteworthy. It's literally Saquon, which is number 1, sure. Then you probably would go with McCaffrey, and then literally then there's a fat gap, and then I would probably go Sanders, Pollard, and then Zeke,
the third one was Sanders, but it's Sanders is a really good player,
and he's been consistent.
He's in the backfield with Jalen Hurts. So when defenses are looking at the Eagles, they have split vision. They're looking at 2 things. With McCaffrey all year, it's been all eyes on him, to use a Tupac reference. So I think that was weak. Last one, Charvarius Ward as an alternate. I mean, good for him, but I think he's starter material. I mean, him or Jair Alexander. I don't know.
Him, not Jair. It wasn't Jair. I
That's
saw
what
that
I'm
had
saying.
Jair one, and
That's what
that
I'm
was a head
saying.
scratcher. And I love Jair
Yeah.
Alexander because of how fluid he is in coverage, but I thought
Good
it should have
nickel
been
corner.
Tarvarius off top.
I think it should have been Travarius too.
He got a little robbed right there. Jair got it in because of his name for sure. It wasn't better than Diggs is up there deserving. Darius Slay for sure.
Yep.
But man, that should have been Charvarius up there. I don't know what
Tariq Woolen, another guy who's definitely
solid this
deserving.
year. Yeah, solid.
Very solid. But I think Travarius should have been there too. I think it's kind of interesting. Like the 49ers have the best defense in the league, best defense in franchise history, and only 2 dudes made the team.
Yeah, that's a little.
Three. Like 3 dudes, like 1 at each level. I think they're better than 3. I think that the thing about the Niners defense is it's not just 3 elite players. They have 2 elite players at every level. I mean, Bosa and some people would argue Armstead. Then you got Greenlaw and Warner and Ward and Hufanga. So that's what makes the Niners defense so
with
special.
Ward, it's like as an alternate, it's a total of 4. But it's like, no, you got to put Greenlaw in there. I think if you put those 2, at least Greenlaw in there, and you could say like, okay, 5 total. This makes sense. There's 5 Pro Bowlers. That's pretty much almost about just under half the team. I would be more than okay like that because Gibson's been like a nice fill-in, a good, capable starter. Like looks like he start for almost everyone, and then everyone else like pretty much just holds on to their own as like a stalling, impactful player. So they got a little short in the stick on that one.
I think it's pretty clear that this team is better than last year's Niners team.
Oh yeah,
this team is really good. I mean,
and I think Ward's a big part of that. I think Ward and
the
Greg
addition
Greenlaw.
of Ward
Greg
and
Greenlaw was absent.
Greenlaw didn't play last year.
He was absent.
Ward,
yeah.
Hufanga, and Greenlaw are just a reason why this defense went from great to all-time great. And Brendel has more than filled in for Alex Mack. I mean, frankly, if they could just get a better right tackle.
But even with that,
one more thing about what the Niners what they got wrong about the Niners. It would have been nice to see Aaron Banks get an alternate. Good for Jake Brendel, but I was a little surprised that he got the nod over Banks. Locally, it felt like Banks was more of a difference maker this year. Now, maybe I don't know. That surprised me. I thought Banks would be the one that would get the alternate selection. So
yeah, picking guard is always hard. It's always difficult as one.
Yeah.
Wait. So hey, quick rundown of the 3 you just mentioned between Ward, Greenlaw, and Hufanga. Who goes from top to bottom like the one who's more responsible for the leap?
I think Greenlaw is the second best player on the defense after Bosa. Greenlaw. And then Hufanga. And then Ward. And I think they've all been great. Nothing against Travarius Ward, but Greenlaw and Hufanga are playmakers. Ward is a shutdown man-to-man corner, which is also very valuable. Very valuable. But he's also had a couple bad games. I mean, the Chiefs torched him. And the Dolphins got him a couple times too, so...
But the Dolphins get a lot of people with Tyreek Hill. You can chalk that up. That's fine.
That's true. That is
I'd
true.
go Ward, Huff, and then Greenlaw just because, they had Aziz last year who was good. So while Greenlaw does provide that upgrade, it wasn't like significant.
Some people saying Travarius Ward's the best corner they've had since Deion. Hey, man, can we – hold on.
Whoa.
What about Jason Verrett? Like
Verrett that year I think might have been the best.
He didn't have Bosa that year, and he was locking people up. Poor Jason.